Okay, so begin our meeting. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, any changes or amendments to the agenda?
None for me.
No,
Okay.
I have one, and we can do it under DPW. We have to, amend the motion that was made back, was it in February or January, the beginning of the year for the new truck? When the salesman sent over the quote. The numbers were correct, his total on the bottom line, he transposed them. So the amount is not correct in the original
Motion.
motion, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
We move to amend that motion to the correct
to the correct amount, yeah.
amount, which
So-
is,
Well, we'll do that under DPW.
Oh,
She's just
sorry.
adding it right
Yeah,
now.
no,
That's
you're-
fine. You're fine.
come on, fire it up.
You're all ready to go.
She's coming
Uh,
from vacation, be careful.
I didn't have the amount of the abstract either of you because I didn't print that off. I got it in an email, but I didn't print it. I just need to do this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, our meeting minutes from July 15th, 2024. We have a motion.
Move to accept the minutes.
Moved
Second,
and seconded. Any discussion? Been a little bit. Madam
Good,
Clerk,
yeah.
Good, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Our abstract, number 4 dated today in the amount of $373,267.29.
So
Moved by Dan.
second,
Seconded by Jane. Any other discussion? Or questions? And they've been audited?
I want to.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay, our departments, we will go into the DPW first.
Okay, you want to, or,
You can go.
all right, employees, departments looking to hire a maintenance worker and a mechanic, still looking to hire many. Continues to look, there's an interest in promoting Alan Smith from a labor position to a maintenance position. Yeah, he will be paid 90% of the maintenance worker rate until he completes his road test, a CDL road test, then will be bumped to 100% of the maintenance worker rate.
I can expand on that if you want, Jane.
Yes.
So typically, once a laborer gets their CDL, then we promote them to a maintenance worker. With all the new New York State regulations, it's much harder to obtain your CDL. Alan's been a fantastic worker. He's been here for just over a year. And I want to make sure that we don't risk losing him just because something that's not necessarily his fault is prohibiting him from being able to make rate like everybody else. So it would still be this, I think it's like a $2.50 an hour raise for him, and then he would get bumped up to full rate of a maintenance worker upon completion of his road test. So
And he has his permit.
he got his permit in like 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
he's had his permit, and so it's just, they're very backlogged. You have to have so much time with a trainer and everything like that. So it's not his fault that he hasn't gotten it yet. It's just timetable wise.
So would you like to make that motion tonight?
Yeah.
Promotion?
His CDL, just for clarification, is commercial driver's license. So we're just looking at him getting the typical commercial driver's license, but bumping him up now while he waits for the
Yep.
program to get time
Yep.
in it to give him the test.
Yep.
Because he's passed.
Yep.
Very good.
Right, raise the effective as of this motion.
I would think
I
so.
would think so, yeah.
That's what you're asking for here.
I make that motion.
Okay, so moved by trustee.
I'll
Rice.
second.
Seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
We have a 2025 dump truck.
So this is what Laura was talking about, the amended.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so the number on the quote, he just had a typo and switched the 4 and the 8, so instead of it being 248,000, it's 284,000.
Did our budget have any consideration on this? Or
It would
budget
still be-
anticipation where we were going to be, or
Yes,
based on the quote that we saw?
it'll still be fine. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yep.
Thank you, Bob.
So just to reiterate what you guys just clarified. There was a clerical error in the quote that the full board
Approved.
approved back in February. That clerical error is a transposition of two numbers, but it's a $40,000 difference. So
Yeah.
it's supposed to be 284,896. The error came through as 248,896.
Yeah.
The error did not cause a $40,000 like lack in our budget.
Right.
We had adequate monies. It's just in this one motion and quote that we worked with that we need to correct.
Yeah.
So I am making a motion to correct our February, and not to, I
Well,
guess to
amend our-
amend,
right.
right, our February motion
To the correct numbers.
to the correct quote of $284,000 and $284,896.
I'll second that.
So it's moved in second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Okay.
It looks like we need more 64-gallon carts because it's become the favored size.
Yeah, so we have a list, we've been keeping track of people that have requested swaps. We've been holding off on swapping just with introducing the new truck, and we just wanted to make sure that if the claw grabbed one of the 90 or 64 gallon, we had a spare one that we could swap out if the can broke or whatever. So we haven't done swapping yet. So we've compiled a list of probably 20 to 25, but we have to order in groups of 30.
Are these on the state contract?
Same company as before.
Was that motion to buy?
Yeah,
those?
yeah, so moved to buy 30 64-gallon trash carts and 30 64-gallon recycling carts at the cost of $3,478.60.
Moved and
I'll second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
So there was a speed radar sign that was placed on Highbridge Street from July 29th to August 18th. That sign, the outcome is that there were a total of 13,177 vehicles during that time frame with an average speed of 32 miles per hour, and it is my assumption this was in a 30-mile-per-hour zone.
Yeah.
Okay. 22% or 2,911 of those vehicles were above 36 miles per hour. Not of those, it's my misrepresentation. 22% of the vehicles in that area at that time were above 36 miles per hour.
Yep.
So we had,
Roughly 1 in 5 cars.
yeah. I don't really know how to react to that myself.
1 in 5 and 1 in 4.
Hmm.
And that's, who figures out the average? You do?
No, it's in the program in the sign.
It's the average, it's not median, huh?
Yeah, it's just a average.
That's, that's just the one thing, the average.
Yeah.
Because that, I mean, that.
Right, like when we go by
That's a lie.
going 4 miles an hour,
Right, so that
calculates it into the.
Average is a lie.
Oh, is a lie. That means people are speeding.
Yeah, I mean, but average is a lie,
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
because it just says, yeah.
I'm above average.
Is there a day of the week or time of the day that is significant for the higher speed limit? I mean, not limit, I mean, excessive speed.
The highest traffic time was between 9 and 10 AM.
Okay,
Most of the speeding probably was in that time frame.
okay.
There was only one above 50, so that was probably a police officer going to a call or something.
I'd like to think so.
Right, I would hope. So like I said, roughly 1 in 5 are going above 36. I can set the speeding range. So I just set it 6 miles an hour above the speed limit.
Yeah.
So,
What do you mean? set the speeding range?
That's a lot.
So I can, on the program, I can give the sign a range that calculates what it calls like a violation.
Mhm.
So anything like on this particular one, if anything above 36 miles an hour would be a speeding violation. So then it just calculates how many violations there were.
And you chose to go 36, thinking the average person's gonna go 35?
Probably 5 miles an hour above the speed limit.
It probably would never be stopped for 5 over, so that's the proper sign. Even in the 30, yeah. Hate to say it.
Well, there's nothing for us to do tonight about this. It is something for us to absorb, and I think I asked this question earlier on, like, months ago, so I don't, we probably need to figure out what we're gonna do with this data.
Well, during the time. when
Well,
I
I
was-
think it should be passed along to the police so that they know.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell the neighbors, and they're the ones that requested it.
Right.
We could let them know,
Yeah.
put out a little card. Well, more work for this office, so
Well, we are gonna put out
put
a
a
new,
little card out, say what it was, for the
Yeah.
people that live on.
we are gonna be putting out a newsletter soon. And maybe we could just include it there rather than just one particular neighborhood, because this is a complaint we get all over the village, from South Springs to the
Yeah.
other parts of the neighborhoods over on the south side and on this side of the village and the
Yeah.
east side and High Bridge and Burdick Street particularly. We've had a lot of people that have approached me and complained about speed, so
On
Maybe-
South Burdick or Burdick Street?
North Burdick, you know,
North Burdick.
on the right. Up there just before we leave the
I
village.
can move
But-
it over there.
But I mean, there's people that have the same complaints about the speed of traffic and things like that. So I think it's kind of beneficial for everybody to know that we are doing this around the village and where the data is a little bit. So we'll include a little blurb about it in the newsletter, so if they read it, they can find out the information.
Is-
And we will move it around to some different neighborhoods like we talked about.
Is our most immediate action that we can take as a board is, as Dan said, is to just inform our local police department and let them just have this information. But I don't want us to be, or at least I want myself to be completely clear on. I'm not expecting to take any action on Hybrid Street, like to put in speed bumps or anything like that. I'm
It's not our road, so we can't do that
So
anyway.
it's nothing, it's not, otherwise there's really no action for us to take.
No, it's more just data collection, I think.
Where exactly, where was it? I can't remember. I remember going through it.
Just past, High Ridge Landing. One of those 3 houses just past High Ridge Landing on the left.
Okay.
Coming back from the bird sanctuary, probably like a half mile down the road.
Is it taking snapshots in both directions?
No, it's just one-way traffic.
So could you put it up, maybe put it up for another couple of weeks and put it up farther?
Farther out of the village or in?
Yeah,
the village?
toward the line.
Towards
It
Autobahn.
was way down. One of the neighbors called me and thought it was down too far, but
Okay,
I didn't say anything.
yeah. I
That's
can move it up towards Autobahn.
just for,
Yeah.
just till the end of the month or something like that, get it quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because that's right coming in, so
Yeah.
people are gonna be slowing down, so don't put it too close, but.
Yeah. Yeah. I can kind of put it almost right on that
Week
bend.
or something about.
Yeah.
I do have a meeting scheduled with the chief later this week.
That'll
I believe,
take-
So I'll talk to him
Yeah,
about
chief.
these numbers and.
They'll be happy about that.
Yeah.
About some of this stuff. Okay,
Okay, the projects that DPW has been working on, catch basin repairs at 201 Hybrid Street, 207 West Franklin Street. Garage paving project, Town of Manlius Highway is contributing to this project. They're gonna do some paving, soup goat to mill, and work to be done in September with CHIPS money. So essentially, you're going to repave your entire
Yeah, so
parking driveway area at the
because of the
DPW.
way that CHIPS works, we actually don't have an eligible road this year to pave.
Okay.
And our parking lot hasn't been paved since like 1980, so. It's in pretty bad shape, so we were able to get CHIPS money. So I'll have more firm numbers probably by the September meeting, just for what it will cost, cause we already approved in the budget the road work to be done, but that can't happen this year, so, we'll look at doing those roads next year and do the DPW garage this year.
Great. Great. DPW helped to wash and prep the side of the Elm Street building for its mural to be painted, which I understand is done or being done.
It's in progress.
Yeah,
Being
he's
done.
working on it right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully not today, but.
Yeah. And the senior center, which is well underway, the entryway was removed. It was a good thing that we acted on that, according to Bobby, as they were removing it. There was some rot going on and it was unstable, so it's good that we made that decision. The second level or the flooring inside the cottage has been removed. Really opened up the building a lot, I think. I think that work, Bobby, you know better. I wasn't in town, but I think that work went very smoothly.
It was fast.
It was very
Real
fast.
quick.
Yeah,
They also did it in a progression. I was up there one of the days, or a couple of the days to check on them, and they did it in a progression where they took out some of the flooring for upstairs, and as they did that, they were doing the bracing as they went along, so it wasn't just like tearing all the floor out and then doing the bracing, so they had planned to
Yep.
make sure nothing shifted or got adjusted while they still had the structure tied together
that's great.
and then re-tied together as they
Yeah.
went forward down the length from one end to the other.
Very good. And then the outside paint has been removed, primed, and it's ready for new paint. So, just to remind everybody, we do have someone on board to repoint the stone. He's just not been able to get to it yet, but won't he go, wow, when he comes in
Yeah.
and sees this, it's great. So then we'll have, some monies and some time to complete the inside and further improve, the landscaping around the cottage.
Yep.
Right, great. And just, it's got nothing to do with DPW, but we're talking about the cottage. There is a quote we've received to replace all the windows, so we'll have to look at that. It's not something we can talk
Right.
about tonight.
I just received it.
Yeah, so we'll look at that and then we'll bring it to the board for its attention next meeting. Okay,
Excellent.
How many quotes did you get for the windows?
well, we worked with, I believe, I have one in front of me. So,
One.
those, what we did to get quotes for any part of the cottage is we sought out the experts who worked with older structures and what to do with them. And because we're interested in specifically with the windows and understanding how we could replace what's there.
We want to know, though.
If we decide we need another one, these are because we're trying to keep some historical presence. They're the same company that did the windows in this building. So we may have to get another one, but right now, that's all we need.
Yeah, but I mean, for community development to approve,
Oh, no, that community it's not, they're
This is
not the
not
ones
what
that
part
you're
have.
paying for it?
No, community, this would be the money from the,
From the other
senior
grant. From
aging,
this-
Office of Aging.
Right.
They don't require you to get more than one.
Oh, they don't.
They don't care what your
Well, I
quote
mean,
is.
New York
They
State
just want to
does,
see
but-
the work. New York State
Yeah.
in that grant.
Yeah, but I mean, community development, okay,
right.
this is the other quote,
This is, yes, yeah.
so,
No, as far as that, we would need it for our procurement, our own procurement
Right.
policy,
Right.
unless it's a sole source and we can, if we
right,
can't find anybody else that can do these custom sized windows, because if you haven't had a chance to go through it, Jane, but, if you go through it, he's crossed out all the prices and he's not,
Prices budgetary.
yeah, exactly. So
Nature.
this is something I don't even have a price for. So,
Yeah, Dan, when we take a closer look at this, we
Right.
want to stay within our protocol for seeking budgets. I'm sorry, seeking quotes. And we want to stay within our current project budget. Our push this summer was to get the exterior of the building done is before the snow flies is the bottom line. So that we
Right.
can button it up, so there's no more deterioration, but we will have more answers to your very poignant questions at our next meeting, if not sooner,
yeah,
for everyone.
he just suggested we send that off to the architect to review it for the windows.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I
Okay.
don't know what you want to do.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Okay.
Sorry, with that, we're off topic of DPW, so anything else for DPW?
Just the, I just got information after, of course, I sent you the memo, the NICOM training for Tyler in October.
But it's not that, an email.
Public Works, right?
Yep, the public works training, it would be a total cost of $1,414, hotels included. So I'd like to get board approval to sign up for that, so that Tyler and I can go in October.
So,
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
When is that again?
October 20th, I think.
Oh, okay, well, just making sure.
Yeah, I won't be busy then.
so
October 21st.
So that means for the, how many days? 3? 4?
3.
So Jane will be in charge for those 3 days. Sit down
Mhm.
and go for it.
I mean, it's for our hard hit and driving gloves, okay?
Go for it. Serious.
Hopefully it won't snow.
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Put it in
we're okay.
context.
Tornado in the
That's right.
meantime.
Okay, fire department, have any application?
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of.
Perfect.
Okay, we got, she's got her name written on here as, I've got it written on the front copy as Lily Woods, but she has it written as, I like this girl too, by the way. Something she wrote here. I just want to read it to you. How she changed her name on here. Kind of funny, if I can find it. Lily of the Valleys.
Yeah,
Woods.
She's Lily of
That's what you-
That's her full given name,
That's it.
how she has it worded.
Here I am laughing at her name, but that's her name.
Nice, that, okay.
I
so-
love it. So I
Yes.
wanted everybody to read that. She's EMS, sorry. I loved it.
What was the first name?
Pardon me?
Lily.
No, you said, you gave us a name and then you said she rewrote it. What was the first name?
Lily.
No, I mean, on the outside, we
Just
got
Lily?
Lily
Oh.
Woods. Inside
Yeah,
where
the
she
Valley.
filled it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's her real name, so I love it. Lily of the Valleys. I like it.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I.
Okay. You're fine.
so move,
For a second, chance second.
second it, yeah.
Okay.
What is she going to do?
EMS.
Yeah,
EMS?
EMS.
all in favor?
All right.
Hope the rest of John Smith.
Then we have McKenna Newsom, EMS. So moved.
Second.
And second by Mark. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
And we have Jonathan Newsom. Firefighter. So moved.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor?
Aye.
Then we have. Gabriel. Bolanos. Firefighter.
Second.
Moving to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Is there 4 or 5?
Pardon me?
Does Paul give you 4 or 5?
He gave me 4. I thought there was gonna be 5. But I only got 4.
okay. Anything else for the fire department, Dan? I don't know.
Not that I know of, he's,
Know that he talked to me today. He wants to, I don't know if he talked to you about it at all. He wants permission to canvass the eligible list with civil service for Jeff Jones replacement. He wants to canvass the list for a firefighter paramedic.
Okay.
So just maybe come in, it is a probationary employee after we go through the list. and-
Which that he can do and we have to
Yes.
approve him once.
Yes.
We can't do anything until we have the.
No, but
person
he
to
just
approve,
wants
but-
the authorization to
do
canvass the
that.
eligible list.
Okay, so if anybody wants to
I
make that
so moved.
motion,
I'll second.
moving second, all in favor?
all right. That's it, I guess.
Anything else you know, Lori, or that's all?
No, that's all.
Okay. Next, we have, I emailed everyone a request from Patricia Bundy, who owns 100 Berkeley Drive. When we instituted and changed some of the trash and we changed our code about getting 2 totes for trash and 2 totes for recycling. That has worked pretty much throughout the village, although as we anticipated, there will be a few things that need to be discussed as we go along. So Mrs. Bundy has a property that is, basically her building is her property. There is no land outside of, for all sakes and purposes, no land outside of the footprint of her building that she owns, basically. She has tenants in that building and she has, as far as residences, and she has tenants in that building as far as commercial. Because of the footprint of the building, she was willing to discuss and propose to obtain a dumpster for her building. But she has no place to put it on her property that she could do that. So then she proposed to me that she would consider putting a dumpster in the parking area underneath the bridge near to where the old Stack Animal Hospital, the dance studios down there, and that general area for her tenants. And we determined, Bobby and I, that that was not really a good idea overall. It would be open to many people to put stuff in a dumpster and who about maintaining it and its cleanliness and its aesthetics and different things like that. So I consulted with Ted and he suggested that we could offer like a, I think you called it a license.
Yeah,
agreement.
license agreement.
And we could, and so I've discussed this with the DPW superintendent, Bob, who's here. And that we could offer, and she is willing to buy another tote for trash and recycling. She feels that 3 will be sufficient for the people within her building. She has currently been placing her totes along the outside stairway on the right side if you're facing her building. None of that property beyond her stairway belongs to her. It belongs to Fietta's in that red house up the hill. And so she is proposing or asking us to consider allowing her the purchase and payments towards a third of each, the third edition, or the additional tote, for 1 for trash, 1 for recycling. She would have 3 of each, which is acceptable to the DPW. She has also suggested, and we looked in the records from back in the 70s, 76, 77, when she obtained the property. And there's nothing in there from the planning board about trash and things, because obviously the village was doing it differently at that time and they just put the trash out like everybody else did for so many years.
Well, wait a minute. That may be true. But there is a place where they used to put trash cans, which is between the 2 buildings. The old post office where there's
And I don't know that that's her space. That might be where the jewelry store is using to put their trash cans.
I think that's where people used to put their trash cans. Up
Okay.
in that door, there's a doorway there.
So
I'm not saying,
no,
I'm
that's,
not, I'm
yeah,
not saying there's anything wrong.
yeah, no, that's good to know. So she did also present to us something for possible storage, which may or may not be befitting of that particular limestone
They
area.
would have to go to a planning board.
Right, so I
Okay.
believe that we can give
Store for it.
probably historic and planning or whatever. So,
Historic trash cans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, storage out.
Storage
Um,
cans.
modern totes in a
Modern
historic
totes, sorry.
structure. Anyway, so I guess it would be up to our board to allow for this license agreement to allow her to have the extra totes. That was where it will begin. I believe at this point in time, she will put them where she's been putting her other totes. And that we should then send this to the planning and the historic for updated site plan. I don't say it right, but maybe you can help me.
No, it's
Jane.
site
Is
plan.
it
It's
an
site plan. It's a-
updated site plan for where the storage of
Outdoor
these
storage is
types
what
of
she has,
things
yeah.
will be. And so we will give her permission to have if we approve this, we would give her permission for the 3rd tote of each. And then she would have to present ideas or whatever suggestions to the planning board.
So I only don't understand why we're calling it a license agreement for
Yeah.
the 3rd tote.
I want to know about that.
I mean, isn't she just buying a 3rd tote?
Which isn't allowed under the code.
It isn't allowed under the code. that
Nobody
we
can buy a
passed.
Does it go with,
No,
does it go with the person or with the property?
It would go with the property. And yeah, I just kind of pick license agreement.
So we're basically setting up I'm not, it's not a challenge. We're trying to
No,
get a
no, no, you're
definition
trying
for
to
license
understand all
agreement.
this stuff, yeah.
We're setting up, we're being asked to agree to an independent agreement.
Yep.
For this property to have a third tote.
Yep.
At which, for which there will be payment.
Correct.
Is it an annual payment?
Correct, just like her second tote is an annual payment.
Okay, and what?
So
are we-
there will be a purchase of the tote itself for $95, was it? or
85.
$85. So she'll pay $85 per tote,
Okay,
and then she'll pay the $150 per year
okay,
for each tote. So she did that for two already, and now
Okay.
she's gonna be paying for two more.
okay, so
additional.
I don't have a problem with that. I do think as a board, if we do this for a property owner, we should identify our specific reasons because we may get this request from other property owners and before we have independent agreements out there, and so in this one case, as you mentioned, Mike, you rattled off several characteristics for this property that are unique to this property or
Unique to
specific.
almost any property within our village, basically. right?
Yeah,
But
so
it
you're
could be
saying that if
considered a
anybody,
hardship, just like a hardship,
Well, why
case.
does she need three? I mean, what is she doing that is,
because of the amount.
She has six
Renters.
apartments in there, I believe she
Oh,
said, and then she
Yeah,
has,
she said there's a lot of renters and there is.
well, she has 2 floors above her. It's a 3-floor building, so
Oh.
she has her commercial space on the ground floor, which probably.
5 apartments, 4
And
or
then
5.
4 or 5
I mean,
apartments.
So I would,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind, having her have the extra. And if somebody else comes along and says they want to do it, but, give us the reason.
Yeah.
We're doing this
Yeah,
based
yeah.
upon her reason.
no, I'm.
Right, I don't think it'll be a blanket thing that we will just do for
No.
absolutely everybody that comes to us. I think there has to be certain needs for it. Some of the businesses within our community that have spaces for dumpsters have changed from the village collection to having their own dumpster to meet the needs and basically comply with the law that was
I
passed.
chosen to go with a private hauler.
Yeah,
Correct, and they don't have the same special circumstances with
Sure.
their properties that would prohibit them from. Like I say, Mrs. Bundy was very willing to get a dumpster and have it for her use as opposed to getting a third tote or even the first 2 totes. But she doesn't physically have a spot that she can put it. That's
So,
that's
but
kind of the
you're
difference.
you're right, Jane's right too. We don't want place next door to come through and say, we got this amount of properties. We want to get rid of our dumpster and put, what I agree, as long as there's room for a dumpster, they don't have that
Right.
choice.
Well, I think,
no, go ahead.
I think this is a rather unique circumstance because they don't have the ability of the footprint of the property doesn't allow us to actually put a dumpster in that property. And that property has existed for kind of part of the historic district, so it's been there for a long, long time. It's not like we're in a position where I'm saying, oh, wow, you changed it. You understand what I'm saying? This is,
Bertie Baldwin.
yeah. So this goes back a ways. And so I understand from the point of view, it's like I've got them, and I also understand that we can't be in the position where we knew we were going to have some issues along the way here. We knew that, and this is one of those issues that I think we have to try to figure out and work with her. If in fact there is a property where she could actually put in a dumpster, there was facility for it or something like that, I would basically be in the position, yes, you can do that, but this is an exception.
Well,
And I don't know how to verbalize that or classify that so that we can
Right.
actually do that,
well, I would like to separate out. I'm totally okay with this license agreement, meaning. She may be the only one and she may not, but that is a good solution to someone who needs a third tote. But I'd like to separate that from lack of space to house the 6 totes outside. That lack of space is something that has to get resolved independent of our license agreement, right?
Correct, yeah.
So I can agree and do agree to give her a license agreement, but it has to be conditioned on her solving her lack of space, so she's gotta find. I mean, it's one thing to say our planning board needs to provide site plan approval for where this dumpster, or not dumpster,
Storage space.
container will be, but it sounds like it's not gonna be on her own property, it's gonna be on somebody else's.
So
property.
the only place that she could put them that would be most likely on her own property is behind the building. There's an alley that goes behind the building.
Okay.
So she could choose, I'm suggesting that she could choose.
Is this what we're looking at right here? That's the location?
I don't know.
Which one do you got?
I don't know how she could do that.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I mean,
Well, she can put a shed there, can't she put a dumpster there?
no, you don't want to go there.
There's no way to get to it.
So this is the
No
front. of
way
the
to get to
street.
the
So
dumpster.
back here, I don't know what this is Xed out for, do you know? I don't know.
I
what
have
it
no
is.
idea. We're still
So,
presented.
At anyways, when she talked to me on the verbally about this. If the cans were put back here, this is like an alleyway that goes by that red house and goes all the way through to behind the old post office where the mural is being put.
It's a
on the wall.
road.
Well, I don't know, if it's a road or.
People
an
use
alley.
it as a road.
But anyway, she could put them up there. Then it meets our criteria that they're not in the front yard and they're not
Yeah.
out in visible sight.
Right,
She would then have to have someone bring them out here
Right.
to place them out
That's
here.
right.
So that's one solution that she
Right.
could just choose to do
Right.
and not have to go to the planning board and not have to go
Right.
to anywhere else because it
Right.
meets the criteria.
And
This
it's her
is just my
property.
opinion. Now, if you
no, 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 but
disagree,
this is a reality, no,
you,
this is a
you
fact.
tell me because I'm just trying to think it
But
through.
she owns that property, that's what I'm trying to point to. She.
I don't know what these X's are for, if she owns those properties or not, but it's not conducive for a dumpster if she does. I think it's right here along this line, it's what she owns, but I think she can put something out there perhaps. That's what she talked to me about. Then she'd have to have somebody bring it out here weekly to be collected. Her idea and what she presented to us, which would have to go to the planning board and or historic, was to go along these side stairs that go up to where her office used to be. There was an old map store. I think there's a tattoo parlor up there now or something like that. This property belongs to Fiata's. So she was proposing to put some kind of a storage area in there that would be an appropriate look. So that
Underneath
would
the stairway or?
kind of against the building next to the stairway. Right now, if you go down there and look, she has like a garden down through there that they allow her to garden and put some flowers in and stuff like that.
Peter that has.
So I don't know which.
I don't know which one, that's why I'm asking.
So my comment is simply that. The license, I don't know if we want to tag the license agreement to her, sorry,
Well, no,
to
no, I
her
was just giving-
completion of.
Well, I think we give her,
Satisfying storage, getting a satisfactory storage place, that's all. I mean, it's not our responsibility to figure that out. All the rules and stuff
Correct.
have been set forth, and like you said, if Fiona is willing to let her use it, that's fine. If he's willing to let her rent it, that's fine. I mean, but that's not our decision.
right, so can we put that into a form of a motion that we approve this and give her a certain number of months?
Yeah.
Whatever to go to
Yeah.
get this resolved as
Yeah.
to where she's going to put it,
Yes.
and then if she doesn't comply within those months,
Then it
then it
lapses
can
into-
be rescinded and we can.
It actually
have them
disappears
collected
automatically.
or whatever,
Yeah.
so. Is that acceptable to everybody?
Fully acceptable to
Just-
me.
I agree with you that we need to put some parameters, and can somebody help with the planning board schedule, how she would have to go about?
I would rather not see a little shed anywhere.
Understand, it might be done the right way.
It
might
just
look
does
okay.
not look good on that property.
I mean, to Dan's point, it's aesthetic, this is why I want the planning board to have their eyes on it, because they will be very sensitive to the fact that it's a historic district and. You
And it
know,
also gives as many more eyes of the planning board looking at that
Sure.
particular property
I
to
mean-
make a suggestion of a
Right.
different location
right,
that we're not thinking of,
right.
that she's not thinking of,
Right,
but they have expertise in
Right.
thinking and solving problems
exactly
like that, so I feel
Ultimately,
confident.
she's gonna have 6 cards there, 3 trash plus 3 recycling.
Yeah, but she only has
Three
like,
trash,
no,
and
3 of each she's gonna have.
that's still. a
But
lot of
currently, I
places
don't
to
know
store.
that she keeps all of them right there anyway.
Yeah.
I think she has some, I've only seen
I
like
think there
one
must-
of each.
I think there's only, anytime I've seen it, there's only been total of 3. She must keep something up and back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, if she goes with something like this, she doesn't have to go to the planning board. That sits on the ground, basically, you know, it's a
I
plastic
disagree
thing.
with you.
I disagree as well.
Yeah, I don't think, it's not affixed to the ground. It's
What do
a
you think
sun
it's-
cast, it's a sun cast stowaway. You can set out, you know, it looks like a plastic container.
If she's gonna go with a plastic container that looks like that, then I.
Well, here's the other problem.
Something.
I believe that we have those 6 containers, they're not gonna be able to fit into.
I don't
this anyway,
disagree
so.
with that, but
Usually the
where does
planning
she
board
keep all
does
of her?
speak to any outside storage in commercial areas, and then of course you've got
So.
the historic
Right,
overlay is another option that's gotta weigh in on the look.
Because they all fit in there.
Would like.
Yeah.
I think that at this stage, based
I
on
mean,
what.
if
everybody
everybody's
said,
comfortable, we just go forward with the way we talked about it.
Yeah,
If you
she's
want
gotta
to
come
send
up
her
with
to
a
the,
solution that's
she
gonna
has
work.
an option and that's.
How many cans did she have before?
You mean before we switched?
Yeah.
It was just loose trash all over the ground.
Oh, she didn't have it in cans, so she wasn't
They
even
had like,
compliant
they had
then.
like a can,
No.
but it was just loose
Oh,
bags on the.
There's messages like, get out, you're right.
There's,
Yeah.
There was a lot there.
She's 96 gallons.
And she put it on the plaza part too, so there was a lot there.
Yeah.
That's the one where we had the lady that brought in her trash from other places, so that was good, so.
do we have, okay, so we,
We'll look fun, yeah, well,
do we have? I don't recall at this point if we had any comment in our recently revised trash code. The quality of outdoor storage. I don't think it's in the trash code, but I do think it's in site plan. There
Yeah, I
has,
don't know that we put it in the new code. I know we put it in the pamphlet.
There might be.
In the pamphlet, we put, please don't keep out front or in view of the road.
so she's been essentially not, but site plan, if you're going to have outdoor storage. And tote is outdoor storage. If you're not gonna put it in your garage, it's outdoor storage. Anything like that is outdoor storage. You're supposed to cover it. There's supposed to be. It's supposed to not be seen, right? So,
If you drive around the village, there's a lot of houses that keep their totes out in the front yard all the time, but we haven't been pursuing
Yeah,
that
right.
just yet.
Commercial properties, sometimes there are other.
Other circumstances or whatever.
If I go by the zoning district.
And there's other homes that have similar, similar kinds of problems associated with this also. As far as, they're still in sight.
Well, I think that just because of her acknowledging and proposal to us that she was, because this was when I talked to Ted, I got the ideas of what she should submit, because I didn't want her submitting half of a request and then having it go on and on and on. So when I asked for her to submit her proposal to us or her request to us, one of the things was, what do you suggest for storage? So this is something that she came up with for a suggestion for storage. I don't know that this is her be all and end all. This is what I am going to use, but this is what she proposes.
This it would,
Yeah.
obviously, it's 52 inches high, the containers are.
Right,
higher
the
than that.
containers are hard. So it's more or less like
But that's,
she was complying with what I was requesting of her. I don't believe that she is married to this particular storage situation
yeah,
as opposed to something else, but I'm sure she wants the totes and I'm sure she put something together to meet the questions that I asked her to
That's fine.
answer.
I think.
And I don't think she's opposed to going the route that we want her to take to
Well, let's see where
do
she
the
wants to go.
things. I think if we make a motion that we enter into this licensing agreement, and have her buy the totes and give her the opportunity to either store them in the back of her building, which I store mine outside behind my house. I don't have them in a garage, and leave them there, or create something that gets approved by the planning and historic boards or goes by through those boards that we have confidence in that
Mhm.
would be a structure, be it
Yeah.
permanent or movable.
Yeah.
That would meet the aesthetics and the
Yeah.
eye appeal of that particular part of the village.
Right.
So if we're good with that, I think we need to give her some time to do that with those boards or to to show good faith that she's working with those boards, it could go longer than what, if we want to set a time or it's a time to begin the process and continue it, or how you want to word the motion, but
I
we
would,
should make a motion.
I
something
would
to that
give
effect.
her, I'm randomly throwing out 3 months. It doesn't take long to do stuff.
No, that's what I was thinking, something like that. I don't
90
want
days
to,
is appropriate.
Yeah.
So I.
and if it goes longer because of something
She's
the
got
planning
this
board
one.
does, then we can always extend our part of it, so.
Right.
So
So is
you-
that a motion?
You want me to make the motion?
Oh, I'll move, so move. So moved.
We'll make the
I'll make the
motion
motion.
that she can
Second.
buy
Okay,
the things,
there you
we'll
go.
send her to the planning
All,
board.
sorry, we're taking over your
That's all
job.
right. Anybody have anything else? We've talked about it a lot, but good, just start.
I'm good.
Okay,
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the cybersecurity policy. So last meeting, we talked about the fact that we have the village is required to have certain policies in place. And one policy that we thought was missing was the cybersecurity policy. And going through looking for other things, Lori came across our cybersecurity policy and she emailed that out to us after she had given us at the last meeting a proposed cybersecurity policy. Nobody really responded to that part of it. I don't know if you're ready to discuss it or you want to put it on the next agenda. If we want to make any adjustments to what we already have, if you were comfortable with that one, we can just say we've reviewed it. And as of this day, we are accepting it and then we'll review it again
I mean, we can review it
At
at any
the
time we so
annual-
desire.
at the annual meeting or whatever, so we can start our process of
Yeah.
that we've lacked on as far as reviewing these policies and just saying that we have looked at them and having that as a record, I should say, not just saying it, but having it as a record that we looked at it.
I am comfortable with the cybersecurity policy that's in place, and I recommend that we do establish a practice of reviewing all of our policies at our annual meeting.
Right, so you want to go forward with just making that a motion for
I-
tonight for
yep.
the
I'll second
cyber
that. I'll
that we
second
have
that.
in place, that we're good and we've reviewed it.
Good.
And then we will work on the others shortly as the agendas can be accommodated with them. And then we'll go at the annual meeting, we will do each
Just,
one or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll vote on that or no?
yep, all in favor?
Um,
I'm pushing it out in a few minutes, so don't worry, I feel like
Wait a
you
minute.
probably still need
What,
another.
what are we just
15
saying,
minutes.
reaffirming the ones we already have?
The
The next
cybersecurity
meeting, I
policy.
pushed out timeline, I know you guys need another 15 minutes here, so.
Oh, well, we won't
Oh.
much longer.
Hold on, it was fine.
That's what we just agreed
We
to.
just agreed
We're
to
just
it.
gonna review everything at the next annual meeting.
Yes. All of our policies are done. They're in place.
Right,
So we're agreeing on something that we already agreed on. right?
Yeah.
Correct.
right. We're just
We still-
reaffirming it because that's what New York State wants us to do every
Double
year.
agreement.
Is to
Oh, yeah.
reaffirm that we acknowledge that we still agree with it. Next, we had the village court audit resolution. And this is ask of us from the Uniform Justice Court Act that requires the village justices annually to provide their court records and dockets to village auditing board, which Stan was the liaison. And that he would examine the records, so he is gonna give us a report on that.
Oh, yeah?
Did you,
No, she said she would send it down to Lori or you or.
oh, so you haven't done that
We
yet?
did the report.
I don't have the report.
I didn't realize I needed to ask for a report, I thought you had said you had reviewed it and everything was.
I
all set.
reviewed it.
Okay,
Yeah, the report's all done.
Okay, so you reviewed it and the audit was okay, that you did
Yeah.
with her, right?
Yeah,
Okay, that's your report.
as far as I know.
Okay, so as a board, we just have to adopt that and say that in our minutes, and then that gets forwarded with the report to the people that are required.
I thought she was sending some report downstairs. I thought that's what she said
So moved.
Second.
when I walked out.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Okay,
don't know if I can vote for it. I was the one that reviewed it.
well,
You can vote for it.
Maybe you should.
okay. So trustees reports. So trustee Casey Clary Hammerstedt is not here this evening due to health issues. And so her reports are going to be on beautification and the tree inventory and also a tree grant. So we will just discuss those briefly. So the beautification, as far as that is concerned, we are working with the chamber on seen about sending out a letter through the chamber requesting donations. I did send you an email that we've had some issues with the pots and vandalism. And there have been police reports made anytime that something has been totally destroyed. Some of them have just been tipped over and were able to be restraightened and not necessarily destroyed, so those were not reported per se as damaged or to the police, but just in general to the police. Tree inventory, trustee sent us a proposal from Davy Resource Group, and so we will put that on the next agenda to approve or
Yeah, I
disapprove.
have a variety of questions about that I
Yep.
would like, because this is sort of just on the surface. There's a lot more that really goes in this. I'm trying to figure out where we're going a little bit.
Yep.
Because I think what we're trying to do with the tree inventory is correct, but I need to know where we're going with the rest of it, because at this point, that quote is only for like 2,000 trees. Bobby, do you have any idea what our software tells us how many trees we have on our streets?
Right now in Cartograph, I have 2,700 trees.
2,700. The other part that I have is there are other areas that we should be looking at because of our forestation, such as our bird sanctuary, where we have a large number of trees and also our parks. And we should not only, I think we're going to have to get going and doing this in a piece, but we need to figure out a plan in order to do it all so we can actually understand where we're going to
So
go.
eventually we have all of it
Right,
documented.
right. So we can document, so we can also be in a position where we can put this together for a regular budgetary concern for next year, et cetera, in
Mhm.
order to move forward, rather than be in the position where we're just saying, okay, let's go, and we've just got no money sitting aside for it or whatever. We have to figure out how to do this total plan. And I think it's the right thing to do. It's just a matter, we need to sort of understand what the whole plan is what I'm looking at.
Right.
And I'll create a email and send that off to Casey to let her know exactly what my thoughts are, et cetera. So,
Yeah.
and I just received this last night, this morning,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to be curt about it at all. I'm just trying to get there. 'Cause I
No,
think it's
that's
important.
fine. That's fine. And we can put it off.
Well, that report that you had to read is about 19 pages, no, on the computer,
16 pages.
15 pages.
16.
Oh, my
I printed it.
You mean this thing?
Oh, mine's in color.
Well, I didn't do mine in color. I did it the cheap way, guys.
No, that's fine. So if you have questions,
I'll put together an email for Casey in order to be.
Casey has talked to, had meetings with the Davy Group, with Tyler and Bobby at the
Yeah.
DPW. And so they may have some information. She certainly has information. And so if we can look at that.
I just want to make sure we keep moving on that, because I think it is an important process.
So, if we all have questions, would you mind reply all so we can all share?
I'll push it on to probably.
I don't
It's
know.
not a problem.
I have questions.
Okay. And then the other thing regarding trees was, trustee Casey would like to apply for a grant for $1,000 to plant specimen tree. It would be in honor of Leslie Rotano for her dedication and work to the tree commission over time. So it's a non-matching type of grant. It would be $1,000. So we typically, when we have people that are writing grants are going to ask for a grant, we usually approve the fact that they're asking for the grant on behalf of the village at our meetings there. So
So the next portion of that is later on accepting the grant as far
Right.
as what goes on. So there's not a problem. I think we should encourage Casey to apply for this grant. in this
okay,
case.
and it has to be done before the end of this month, so it'll be before our next meeting. So again, I wanted to make sure that it got brought up tonight
The,
in their absence.
my understanding is though that we, for this application, for this money, we need to know where the tree is going.
Correct.
And that was, I didn't understand where it's going, so.
So
There's no resolution on that at this moment.
right, I talked to Leslie briefly, and she was, so I believe the senior center property has to be in a more visible type of location, so we were considering the senior center property. When I talked to Leslie, she was talking about in front of the senior center building itself on this side of the driveway. We just paid to remove trees there, and we just paid for a lot of landscaping around our senior center building. And we also just took down several trees across the driveway on the east side. So I suggested strongly that if we're gonna use that property, we would go on the east side, where the tree could be visible because there aren't other trees there now, and also the fact that we're not gonna block our building.
Two quick questions.
Yep.
Can we say something like senior center property and then worry about exactly where it goes if we get the money? And number two, Do we know what specimen, what kind of tree we're?
No one know. Don't know.
And it doesn't matter to me.
I
what
was
kind of
told
tree.
today, when I had a meeting with Casey earlier today, that we had to send photographs as to where the tree was going to be.
Like it's the exact
Kind of
location.
more or less exact. I don't know how you feel about putting it in front of the building itself as opposed to
Depends on
across
the
on the
tree.
other
I
side.
mean, if it's a beautiful little ornamental showcase kind of tree, it might be nice, but I don't, it depends on the tree.
All
Right,
right,
you don't
so,
wanna put a big, huge tree back in front of the senior center, do you? That's gonna
No.
block it?
No,
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna get 100.
well, I don't know. Do you know, we don't know what kind of tree. it is.
so before we submit the grant, if that's all going to be inclusive, do you want to vote to accept submitting the grant? And before the grant's submitted, we will get these questions answered and come
So
up with a
moved.
location without necessarily holding this up for
Yeah,
today.
that's
Is that
fine.
okay?
That's fine.
But we understand where the questions are
Yeah.
and what's going on, so I will follow up with a meeting with Casey about that. And we will, and Leslie, and then we'll let everybody know where it's gonna be. Maybe put a stake in the ground or something, and then
Where and
um,
what?
where and what, so you know what it is and where it's gonna be.
So move, just make sure that when you write the proclamation, where it's gonna go, that it's edited. Because I never got over making that a park up there.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right, all in favor? Or,
Hi.
okay. So I believe that's all. Trustee Kinsella, you're gonna talk about a couple of things.
Yeah, I got-
Recreation and
Couple
pickleball maybe.
things, yeah. First of all, the pickleball, we'll have to go to the next one because I didn't get together. I did have a comment and unfortunately, but, these people were not from the area near the, park, Coulter Park, and they were not greeted in a nice way because of the amount of noise and also parking where they park. So I just want to throw that out. Okay, playground, yeah, thanks to Michelle Middleton for this report. This is sort of not her whole report because I sort of headed it. 150 children attended. This is, I think this is the third generation of things, kids going to summer playgrounds and for recreation. 4 children on full or partial scholarship, 12 counselors and a camp director, drama, 2 programs. 2 programs, 1 Fiddler on the Roof, that was for grades 6 through 12. And Frozen was for 48 kids, 4 through 10. Thanks to the fire department who sprayed the campers during warm days, during what they call wet days. And the fire department for providing certification for CPR and AED use. And the DPW for moving the equipment to the school and back. So Michelle's thanking everyone was successful and I haven't heard anything bad so far. I know they had something unique that I don't know whether this has happened before. I think they had 4 children who did not speak English. I know 2 of them, they live near me and I welcome them every day on their way there.
Yeah,
And they didn't really know what I was saying.
yeah.
Here's an old
You'd be
man talking.
surprised.
Not good.
Okay. Name?
I updated everybody on the cottage at the senior center. Trees have been removed at the senior center. Otherwise, I don't have any further update regarding the senior center. The zoning project update is underway. We identified steering committee members. Here's a representative from the planning board, from the ZBA, from Historic Commission. And then there are 3 additional residents, all bringing different skill sets to the committee. So this is not to close out the committee, but if people have names of individuals that they think would like to serve and bring some value to the committee, let me know. We'd be happy to add them. But I wanted to get it underway, so we scheduled our first committee meeting September 26th. It'll be here in the boardroom. And the CFA application has been submitted and all of you have received a copy of it. And I, this afternoon, sent out the attached documents. They were attached with the application at the time that we submitted it. We're not going to hear anything until November, December of this year. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that, but
No.
that's all I have.
Thank you.
It's gonna be much more complicated and I apologize.
Okay.
We're talking about actually trying to complete our NYSERDA grant. We actually received a $10,000 NYSERDA grant, of which we used $3,400 of it in order to do a energy study for the village hall. And so what we've done is we have $6,600 left in balance in order to utilize for the energy requirements. But what we've done, we've done something else. We put together a package which is worth $15,289 in order to go after and reduce the amount of energy that's being utilized here in the village hall. What we've done is because of the current plan in the study that we did before, we're actually able to go after the high volume areas so we get the most bang for the buck. That whole thing for $15,289, we were also able to, we can receive also, if we continue forward with this, we will receive a incentive of 7645 initiative from National Grid. So that brings us down to where we have 7645 after incentives on this program, and we're doing this through the green team, which we've used before for LED enrichment, et cetera, in our village. And out of that, we take our NYSERDA grant of $6,600, and so we have a balance of $1,045 that we still would like to move there. And what we would like to do, and Lori and I worked on this and figured out exactly which ones we would do for high impact for us in order to save energy within the village and also particularly within Village Hall, is that we would then look at and ask for permission to move forward and also to use $1,045 from our maintenance budget for Village Hall in order to take care of this also. So this gets to be a little complicated, but it's also very strong and it really leverages what we're able to do and maximize across the board of what's going on. So that's what I'm asking. So I'll put
So you're asking for $1,400 and some dollars.
$1,045 in order to complete the project with projects is actually $15,289.
Right, but physically, what are we doing?
Changing the lights
Change
to
it.
LED.
Oh,
Change the lights to LED and actually
Oh,
taking
I
some of the
see. So
elements,
we
so
wanna
we get
take-
more consistent, so we actually can save money also on what we're
yeah,
doing
in
for.
the long run.
So
So,
move.
yeah, second. Thank you, Dan.
All right.
I didn't get it out.
1 second, all in favor? You're not doing anything, Mike.
All right, on favor?
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
They got.
Secondly, I've got another situation that has occurred with a grant that I've been working on for, oh God, a year. Actually, we were actually notified by the governor's office on July 23rd that we actually, in fact, received a grant from the state DEC for climate smart community projects. The state put out $7.3 million throughout the state, and they put through 4 projects in Onondaga County. Those projects actually included Onondaga County for $100,000, the city of Syracuse for $100,000, in the village of Skaneateles for $375,000, and the village of Fayetteville was awarded $75,000 for a sidewalk program in order to renovate our sidewalks within the village, our existing sidewalks. And this is a really key component because what I did is I put this and I worked with Lori, Amanda at Central New York Regional Planning and Development, and also Bobby with our DPW in order to put this together. Now, what goes on here, that $75,000 can be spent over a 5-year period for this program. We already have budgeted where we will spend $25,000 per year on renovation of sidewalks within our village. So what I did is I put up the parameters so it really isn't going to cost us anything additional. And so we'll get an additional $75,000. We're also able to take our DPW cost and also our equipment cost and apply those for in-kind, because this is a straight, we have to match up $75,000 to their $75,000. And then we will also receive the 75,000. So that's really it's a straight up matching across the board. And I'm asking for us to approve this. Right now, what we're doing is we're moving forward where we are working with New York State DEC in order to put together the program and define everything where we've already done before, but going through the second time in order to write the contract with New York State. Because once New York State says that's fine, we will then come bring it back to the Board of Trustees for your final approval. Because this is the kind of thing where this is going to extend over 5 years. And we're also in the position where I have to make sure that we can have the personnel within our department in order to do this, because this is where we're getting the most bang for our buck. We're utilizing our own DPW for all the labor on this, and Bobby and I worked extensively on this in order to talk about this and make sure this would happen. And so this is actually a very big deal, because this will allow us to double our renovations of our sidewalks in the village, which we are very much behind on because of COVID. And so I'm trying to get to the position where we can do that. The reason why they approved it is because we're talking about allowing and improving our connections with schools, libraries, parks, museums, village and town halls, restaurants, and other businesses. We anticipate that more pedestrians will use the sidewalk network, reducing the vehicle miles traveled, which is part of what we're looking at trying to do. The other part that fits with this is if you sat in my backyard or front yard, my front yard in the morning, my backyard in the evening, and you counted the number of people who are walking down the sidewalks in my neighborhood, and I only live 2 blocks from here, you probably would anticipate there's going to be probably 50 people every morning and 50 people every evening walking. The sense that we see when we did the comprehensive plan for the village was that the walkability of our village, being able to do that, is one of the most desirable things that we have going. It's one of the things that makes our quality of life really, really important to people. So that's why we went down this road and tried to do this and try to actually make it so we can get more bang for our dollar and actually be in the position where we can actually improve those sidewalks, because I also have sidewalks that are in fact not ADA compliant right now, and we need to work on those as well. And Bobby and I have talked about that and try to spotlight those for priorities. So that's what we're trying to do. And I wanted to let you know where we were before we got the full contract done. So it's a big deal.
Do you need an approval from us tonight?
Not for this.
Okay,
I will need an approval later on when we actually
we
pull
need
the
the
full contract together. By the way, we actually did this also through the consolidated funding application. So you know, you understand why I'm working through it here,
Yeah.
because it's important.
yeah,
This is not easy stuff.
no, one quick question, and this is wonderful, because I support everything we can do to improve keep our sidewalks in good shape, good maintenance. Does it allow for new sidewalks?
We did not apply for any new ones at this point in time because we in fact had more sidewalks that needed renovation than we actually have
I
money
believe
for.
Yeah, I believe that.
That, I mean, Bobby and I looked at that and where we thought we would go and what we could do. It was like, oh, we've got just too much for renovation that we've got to deal with. And so that is probably that's our number one right now.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm just gonna say it was part of that program we could apply for, but
That's fine. That's understood.
it was one of those, we had to make a decision, and actually the renovation I think made a stronger issue for them in order to approve us to hit more numbers for them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's great.
Okay, all right. Ed, anything? Anybody in the audience have anything?
I have a question. Does our DPW have the equipment for new concrete? We have concrete trucks or?
We don't have a concrete truck, no.
So how does the DPW do all the renovations of sidewalks?
So we form it and then we hire a company that has a concrete truck and they pour it, we float it, we do all the stone rolling on our own. We just don't have a concrete truck. We just buy the concrete from somebody.
They do all the preparation of the site and then they hire the concrete truck to come in like a contractor would if he was building a house or something, and they provide the concrete for it.
That was all figured in part of the cost associated with the project that we were putting together also. I understand your question, but it's really important to understand how you're gonna The other thing we could have done quite simply is we could have gone outside and just done everything from outside and not use our own people. Except it would have cost us $75,000.
Right.
We're already spending this kind of money already in our budget for this kind of activity. So it would have just expanded our costs. And so this is, from my perspective, it's one of the things I try to do in order to make sure that we control our costs for our residents. You can say thank you to me. That's okay. You and I go downtown all the time, so it's no problem.
Anybody else? Okay, just before the next meeting, I've been talking with Bobby Hall about the idea to expand upon our trash and collections. We've had some requests from people that have had either a specific party or obviously upcoming holidays where they may or may not have enough room in their current trash totes. And so we are going to put together perhaps a rental policy, but it's just in its formulation stages right now. So before the next meeting, I will have that to you. It'll be a limited number of times that people can do that. And you know, obviously, and the expense of it is going to make it more valuable to be limited than
Yeah.
it will be to
Yeah.
do it every week for a whole year as opposed to just buying an extra can if you
Yeah.
really have to do an extra can. And you only have one. So that's all I have is just to be thinking about that. That'll be coming. So if you have any thoughts or ideas about it, you can certainly send me a quick email or text or something and tell me what your thoughts are. But we've just talked generally, and so we'll put something together and you may have more questions or ideas
Great
once we
idea.
do that. So. Okay, that take a motion.
I move to adjourn and I want to apologize to the ZBA.
Bring it out of there. Where are you going?